Hello, Narnach here. Welcome back to Grim Dawn. We're playing with the Ashes of Malmouth expansion as the new Necromancer class. Today we find ourselves in the Smuggler's Pass. Last episode we completed the Steps of Torment. We actually died there once and we arose a Master of Death. Not technically speaking, it was slightly after the episode when I was running around a little bit that I hit level 32. But we now do have Master of Death, one of the ultimate skills of the Necromancer. And it buffs both us and our pets quite a bit. And we have Reap Spirits. This is a very nice skill. It inflicts a massive amount of damage upon the unsuspecting target, and we just literally rip their spirit out and let it loose on the world for 10 seconds. So there we go, that spirit is now ours for 10 seconds. It is a pet, so it scales with all the pet bonuses that we are giving it. But we also do a lot of both ethereal and vitality damage, both of the damage types which we deal quite a bit of, and it works quite well. I've been playing around with it for a little bit just to get a feel for it, and one of the things I did notice is that it is very mana intensive if you want to keep chain casting it, which is very tempting because it is a very high damage skill. But it is also fun to just have an extra minion running around, just causing trouble for all the foes. The combination of Ill Omen and Reap Spirit is also rather nice, since you send them running and then you just rip the spirit out of one of those that is running away and send it after their friends, so you really give them a reason to be running. And it also gets a melee minion straight in their face, or a closer range spirit. And on top of it, of course, if the enemy is running, it means they are not attacking your minions, and then your minions have a better chance of actually living out the rest of their days. Ooh, Uglag the Immortal. Here, I'll rip your spirit out. Okay, he tried to flatten my spirit into the ground. Good thing he did not succeed. Let's see over there. So yeah, the combination of having some ranged skeletons in the back of the group, having the enemies running away from you thanks to Ill Omen, and then reaping one of their spirits, it works out rather well. Okay, if there ever was a good opportunity to be reflecting damage back at someone, it is these big trolls, because they do a lot of damage. Ooh, got an ancient heart from him. That is nice. Do keep losing skeletons left and right. And as you see, the energy bar is now only half filled. That is because using Reap Spirit, it definitely drains your energy. So up until this point, energy was not something I even had to think about, since it was always full. Reap Spirit definitely changes that equation. And that is with only a couple of, actually just a single point in it. If you level it up further, the energy cost goes up from 200 to 218 for the first one. So that's roughly 10% more energy that it will cost. So unless you are fond of drinking energy flasks, then investing a little bit more into gear that regenerates energy is going to be useful for you. And that's a good reason to use caster armor instead of heavy armor, because caster armor often has energy regen on it. We hit level 33. So once we make it to the... Actually, never mind, we got a nice safe spot here. So let's have a quick look. So from the boots that we found last time, we have +2 to Master of Death and +2 to summon Briarthorn. So that's why Master of Death is already at level 3. Over here we have Harbinger of Souls. This is an exclusive skill, so you can either activate this one, or you can activate Master of Death, but you cannot have both active at the same time. Master of Death boosts all of our pets. It converts a chunk of their physical damage to vitality damage, on top of the conversion that they already get from, where was it? Over here, Will of the Crypts. And of course, especially once we complete the Typhus, the Jailer of Souls on the Devotion tree, we're gonna get so much bonus damage to vitality that we really want to convert as much of the minions' damage to vitality as possible. But this is a very nice bonus. Now, you can make an argument that if the minions are doing most of the damage, then you want to master Master of Death. If you yourself are doing most of the damage, Harbinger of Souls is also very sweet. Vitality decay over 3 seconds, a percentage bonus to vitality and ether damage, some built-in life leech, and more physical to vitality conversion, so it self-synergizes. This is also a very nice skill, but the thing is it's exclusive, so you have to toggle it. So in this case I'm just choosing, I want to maximize the damage of the pets. That's why we're going with the Master of Death. That said, I just put a single point in it and we have a little bonus from our gear. On the Shaman side, we're still at where we were last time. I think we picked up the Briarthorn. We get +2 on top now from our gear. And for now, we'll leave it. Eventually, I want to grab a Wendigo Totem. But for now, I want to maximize what we can get out of the skeletons. So we're going to put 3 points into the skeletons. Next level, we're going to do that again until it is maxed out. In the comments, someone mentioned that there's a couple of thresholds for when you can raise certain types of skeletons. And level 9 is when you first start to see mages, and level 15, skill level 15 that is when you sometimes start seeing some tanky minions. I realize I really should have just written that down. I'll get back to you on that one. But there's a couple of thresholds at which you gain access to new minions. Really did not do quite a good job of presenting that bit of information. But maxing the skill, it now helps your minions gain more health, it helps them gain more damage, and it gives you access to more advanced kinds of skeletons. Ooh, look at that. See, this is a very tanky skeleton. It has a big hammer and it has a shield. Much better than the very flimsy regular skeletons. Okay, then we have the portal here. And then it is time to venture forth. Help the fine folks here. Hey,
well, if it isn't my old friend from Devil's Crossing. I haven't been entirely taken. My job was, can't say I like it anymore. I came upon these refugees. Well, if it isn't my old friend, I haven't been in it. My sources, I came upon these refugees.
How can I help here? Wonderful. As I mentioned, I've gone through the game a couple times already, made quite a bunch of series where I focused on the lore, so for this playthrough we're not focusing on the lore at first. Just because listening to all the lore, it does add quite a bit of time to all the episodes, and I really want to get to the new lore. So yeah, well, I do realize that for the people who are new to Grim Dawn or new to the series, that might be a little annoying because you do want to pick up on the lore. Yeah, for that I've got 4 other series that you can watch that I listen to the lore at various degrees. There's no real good answer here. Okay, enemies here are starting to do more vitality damage and I think also some more chaos damage than before. But this is the transition from Act 2 to Act 3. I think technically this is still the later parts of Act 2. But it might also be the earlier parts of Act 3. But you definitely notice that the game is increasing in danger, complexity, and it requires you to have invested a bit more into your defenses and just means of staying alive. Yeah, that's something that I don't talk about it too often in the episodes. But I do keep upgrading my gear in between episodes as well. Oftentimes, when I sit down to play, what I do is I run from, say, the waypoint near to Cronley, and then just go on to kill Cronley, and then do the same for the Warden back in Act 1. So I just do a boss fight run, especially the Warden in Act 1, the Underground Lab. You can find a nice amount of ether crystals, which are useful for crafting, so that is also a very nice thing to do. So most of the time I sit down, I record like 2 or 3 episodes in a row. And before that I do a boss fight, and afterwards I might do a boss fight as well, just to clear things out a little bit. So something to keep in mind, there's a bit more gameplay going on than you can see. And as such, now all the gear does have components in it. I haven't quite gotten a 4th Sanctified Bone here yet, but Vitality Resistance and Chaos Resistance is a very nice combination. Got a Ether Soul here for a little bit of Ether Resistance as well as some Ether damage. And for example, this amulet, I actually bought it just before I started recording this one. Nice damage bonus and a little bit of energy, and the bonus to pet health should help them stay alive a little longer. Speaking of, we lost skeletons along the way. So something to keep in mind. Let's have a quick look at what we found, since some of these things might be useful. Spirit Eater Bulwark. That's a very healthy amount of vitality resistance. Vitality damage, attack damage converted to health. This is very nice if you want to stay alive. And it looks really badass as well. I like it. It's not useful for us, but I like it nonetheless. Brimstone Repeater, that's a Demolitionist set. And over here, Templar Leg Armor. We are too low level yet, but there's some resist on here. It's alright, I guess. Right, with that said, let's desecrate, or cleanse this desecrate, it's fine. Okay, first wave, that's usually pretty alright. Nothing more. I am slightly disappointed. Okay, so we were focusing on Typhus, the Jailer of Souls. Nice, a little bit of resist, that's always nice. Previously we've gotten a nice bonus to vitality and ether damage. And some armor before. So next up is where things get interesting. We massively boost the vitality decay. And after that, a serious bonus to our pet's vitality damage, as well as a very healthy bonus for ourselves. Let's see, I believe some of these enclosures between rooms are sort of kind of randomly picked. There's always a path through. But it does feel a little bit like a maze going through. We'd have to be there, picking up a corpse. Let's see, we can actually go here. We can go there. And then we are there. And then I think we might get ambushed. Ikrix, the Ravener. Hello. Here. I'll rip your spirit out. So, given the fact that it was basically a big bug, I'm not quite sure how much spirit there is to rip out. So, Dahlia did not survive the mountain. Okay, he's running away. That is something to keep in mind on the Dread upgrade. There is a chance to terrify. So if it kicks in, you have enemies running away for a little bit. Ooh, hello there. And there is daylight. We have survived the ordeal. So, we can tag the waypoint here, then we move over to Homestead, and then of course we have to give the word to the fine folks in the mountain deeps, so they can join us in Homestead. Okay, we scared them away a little bit. Also lost some skelly in the process. So if you don't want your minions dying all that much, focusing a little bit more on gear that boosts minion health is probably going to be useful. And boosting the Mog Dragon's Pact so you get more health regen aura is also going to be a useful thing. Opening up with casting Ill Omen on the toughest enemy in the group is probably useful, since it's the one that's going to live the longest, so anytime a normal minion comes clear, they will get the scared tag and run away. Since if you cast it on a regular mob and you kill that regular mob before it has a chance to infect others with the Ill Omen, then of course Ill Omen dies with that one. Okay, gotta find a way to town. Oh, there's 2 heroics here. Wonderful. I'll rip your spirit out. Works rather well. And Padala's Will is something that doesn't sound familiar. What does it do? Ooh, +1 to all skills and Necromancer. This is absolutely perfect. Massive bonus to vitality, damage and decay, health bonus, offensive ability, good energy regen and cooldown, and +1 to Necromancer, as well as bonus to pet health and offensive ability. Yes please, I suddenly don't care that much for the Reckless Guardian. That's a very happy find. Since now all the skills are benefiting from it, not just the raised skeleton, but also all the passes, Master of Death. Ooh, yeah. Cool. Ooh, that was a gluttony in its pure form. Don't see it all that often. Oftentimes it does get mixed in with the harvest, bone harvest. Oh, something I did change a couple episodes ago or in between, that I did forget to mention, is that I have the Herd the Flock passive from the Shepherd's Crook devotion bound to Bone Harvest now, rather than to Ill Omen. So, speaking of, that is this one. Bounded to Bone Harvest rather than Ill Omen, so this way, in most fights I am naturally just already on top of enemies, attacking them, and Bone Harvest is gonna trigger as often as possible, whereas Ill Omen is more of a situational thing. So I realized I was just doing that one slightly wrong. Well, maybe not wrong, but it was awkward, since I did find myself casting Ill Omen just to get the Shepherd's Crook bonus off, even if it was not situationally required to cast Ill Omen. Whereas Bone Harvest is just always good to have. So I flipped those around, and now I'm naturally casting it in fights. It works rather well. Hello there, Nazagrat the Fallen. And then we get Haraf the Slaughterer. Okay, I was slightly too late with my call from the grave, since I did lose one of my skeletons. And we have liberated the portal. But then we can actually go back down to Deadman's Gulch. And we can bring the unhappy news to Dahlia's brother. That's useful to do first, so that you don't have to look for him in town. So that gets us a little bit of Homestead reputation, and then we have a chat with
So
Ogrim.
how doomed. Good work.
So, see you in town. And then we can move forward and have a... Ooh, I see a football that needs to be murdered. Very excellent. And yeah, we already killed all the enemies over here. So then Homestead it is. So we'll just pick up some questies, and then we'll set out on our next adventure. New questies, thank you. Wonderful. So this is a merchant, Isaiah. We had some contact with him before. He does tend to offer a nice selection of crafting materials, including some of the slightly less common ones, such as marks of illusion and sometimes even a sliver of a yellow item. Let's see, we can run through here. Then we get some scouting reports. More lore means more XP for basically just clicking the things. Journal of the Inquisitor. Maybe not as nice just picking up his journal when he's standing there, but yeah.
I wasn't sure you'd make it. I wish that. I'm going to check it.
So, and then we get our questie to have a chat with the lady.
The Legion is split on two fronts.
So. Ah yes, the cannons in the conflagration, that's always fun. Yeah, the questies here we don't get until we clear out some of the side quests. But given the fact that we're still pretty early into the episodes, let's have a quick look. So yeah, for this episode let's run over to the Pine Barrens waypoint at least. And maybe do one of the quests there. The next episode we can set out for Conqueror's Hold, since there are 2 devotion shrines that direction. So they're gonna bring us closer to the to completing our devotion constellation for Typhus, boosting our minion damage. It's quite a lot. Okay. Oh, hello there, Corruptus. So these fights opening up a bit. Oh, Omen, I think it felt alright. Here I cast it on one of the weaker foes. That's not really all that useful, because they just die much faster than they can do something. Okay. Then here we have the trail, and was it this way? Yeah, I think it was this way. Blew it up with 3 sticks of dynamite. Oh, hello. Ooh, high density of Grobels. There's a interesting dynamic here. If you cast Ill Omen in the middle of a pack, then the chances are that the front ranks are not going to get affected by it. If you cast them on the front ranks, there's a chance that the front ranks are just going to get massacred by your skeletons and mages, and therefore won't live long enough to infect the others. So really the most ideal candidate to receive Ill Omen is going to be a very tanky enemy that is in the front ranks, so they can live long enough to infect the others. And here all I needed to do was cast Ill Omen. For the rest, most things just took care of themselves. Because if you have plenty of ranged skeletons, then shooting the enemy in the back is what they can do very well. No moral qualms at all. And it's also a very nice way to disable the enemy's ranged attackers. And there we are. One healthy dose of Pine Barrens. So, hello, I'm exploring, just exploring. I'll get you, Venom. Mugora, yeah, wonderful. So, let's hunt down some Manticores. Yes, that's what they were called. Oh, nice side effect, of course, of all the +1 to all of our Necromancer skills is that the Blight Fiend is now also a higher level. Ah, the AoE does not increase in radius with level. That is something useful to remember. Ooh, this is just a very sweet density of enemies. And like a lightsaber through a pack of butter. This goes rather well. You, please, run away. You're resisting my running away attempts. That's not very nice. Bad enemy. Bad enemy. Gained a level, so more points in this. So we are now over 15, so that should unlock the final tier of summons. I think that was the two-handers. So it might have been like 6, 9 and 15 or something in terms of tiers for the different minions. Ooh, hello there, monstrosity. The fun thing about Ill Omen is that the more points you put into the skill, the longer it lasts, so the longer you can get him to run away. Wait, how many mages do we have? 1, 2... 2 archers, that's a lost looking mage. Oh, ow. Yeah, the Manticores have pretty high spike damage, so that is something to keep in mind. Most enemy types, they... Oh, yes, I got a reasonably gradual damage. Ooh, double heroes. Wonderful. Let's preemptively put up a whole grave. As I said, they do quite some damage. Okay, not a hero. Not the hero we're looking for, but a hero nonetheless. And you're attacking the back lines. Please don't do that. I would very much appreciate if you would not do that. Okay. Yeah, we got ourselves a poison gland, so we don't need to pick that one up anymore. So that's one completed. Next up is going to be the Queen Megara, who resides somewhere in the westernmost side of this area. Now, the fact that you had to pay 3 dynamite to get in here kind of signals that it is not a required part of the flow, but it's a bit of a challenge area. But of course, challenges are often rewarded. This is no different. The enemies are a couple levels above us, which is pretty useful. It's good for XP, very good for XP, also good for your loot drops. And it's just nice getting a challenge. That's the most important bit. And I need to be up there. Let's see, Mogara, level 38 to my 34. That one looks ominous. Okay, just keep opening them. Oh, I already have the poison glance. So manticores are actually a pretty good type to ill omen, so they scatter rather than just swooping down on you. Okay. And her reign was short and sweet. But no more. Oh, and there's a Maelstrom boxer. Wonderful. So that gets us back down. I think I may have picked the wrong one here. Of course I meant the Pine Barrens waypoint. Hello. I killed your manticores and here is some venom. That gets us a manticore longsword and manticore venom, which is the first augment you get even before we get access to the faction augments that are for sale. So follow-up quests, kill some other things, but that's going to be a nice thing for next episode. Old Bloodbriar and Ungolianx. Because for that we have to head to the south, and they're a nice segue into the approach towards Tyrant's Hold. So next episode we're gonna kill big beasties, and then afterwards the Rotten Croplands is gonna be fun as well, because there is a big ethereal as well as a nasty queen. But that's for then. But for now I'm gonna thank you very much for watching and hope to see you again next time. Bye bye.